What's up, good people? Trenton Davis, Father's Day podcast, episode number 8. Pew, pew, pew. Let's get the good stuff out the way in the beginning. Make sure you follow CPU podcast on Instagram. Make sure you follow Comedy Pop-Up. Check us out on YouTube. There's 10 different podcasts on the CPU network now, Comedy Pop-Up Network. So make sure you follow not only Father's Day, which you're obviously doing if you listen to this, but all the other podcasts, some really great ones, really great interviews. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at Trenton Comedy. Something's going on because I'm getting a hell of a lot of Facebook requests, which are weird because I don't forward people to Facebook and they friend to my personal page. I got a lot. So really what I'm doing now is just accepting everybody, knowing that I'm pretty much going to I'm going to transition that page to another comedy page. And then I'm going to have a personal page where it's just me and like, I don't know. I don't want over 200. I don't have over 200 real friends anyway. So I don't want over. I'm going to name the page, if I got married tomorrow, you would get invited to the wedding. If I had to buy you a $50 meal, you would get invited to the wedding. So don't worry about it if you don't make that cut because you won't know about it because we ain't that close. So whatever. Anyway, got that out the way. Lot going on. Let me just tell you about my last 24 hours because it's been crazy. Tuesdays are the day that I have my daughter, which is the best day of the week for me, and then I have her every other weekend. But anyway, I get her on Tuesdays every week and grabbed her yesterday. That was phenomenal. What did we do yesterday? She always want to buy toys, so we went and found a toy phone so she could act like she's on the phone. And then we went to the house, and she got to FaceTime her cousins. I'm not going to get into a whole bunch of the drama, but long story short, I hadn't been able to take her to Atlanta, which is where my family is, in like 2 years. And it ain't because I didn't want to take her to Atlanta, so you can figure out why. But anyway, so she hadn't seen her cousins in a while, but they love each other, and my daughter's the only child, so she loves playing with people. She loves playing with people her age. And if you watch the podcast or listen to the podcast I dropped 2 weeks ago with my boy James Lewis, and he's the one from Xbox, and he mentioned that what's cool now is kids like watching other kids play video games. So they're not even necessarily playing, they're watching another kid playing, and they're watching it streaming. And I noticed this firsthand yesterday. So my daughter is 5, and my nieces are like 7 and 9, and they literally got on FaceTime and just watched each other's life. Like, they wasn't necessarily talking. They walk away from the camera like this. They be like, and then they come back maybe 2 minutes later and just living their life. And they like watching other people living their life. And she held up my FaceTime. She held my FaceTime hostage for like an hour and a half. And eventually I was like, all right, I'm getting y'all off. This is my day. I'm getting y'all off. We're going to go kick it. So then I took her to the park because it was a beautiful day out here in California. And if you don't live in California, I don't know what you're doing with your life because yesterday was 80 degrees in February. Oh, it's beautiful. But anyway, so went to the park and played at the park for about another 2 hours. Then I had to take her home. It's just crazy how big she is, man. It's crazy. Like, just 2 weeks ago, she could not do the monkey bars. And she gets at the park and she's, Daddy, I want to show you something. And now she's got the monkey bars licked. She got the monkey bars licked. Monkey bars can kiss her ass. To the point now where her hands hurt. So I got her some of those weightlifting gloves. Even though she ain't but 5, I got her some weightlifting gloves so she could be a monkey bar champion. Anybody call my daughter monkey, I'm going to whoop your ass. But she's a monkey bar champion. So that was cool, man. So I did that. And then went to open mic last night. Yeah, it was an open mic in Shamrocks. Shout out to my boy, Johnny Herrera, runs Tuesday open mic or book show out at Shamrocks every Tuesday. And that's just a great show, to be honest. It's a great crowd most nights. They got a following, and they just come. And I live out that way. I live 5 minutes from the show, so I'll just pop in and work on new material. But anyway, I was there, and I was sitting out on the little patio like I do, waiting to go up. And the universe or whatever was just like, hey, you should go home. And I was like, what? It was like, go home. And I rarely leave a mic, but I wasn't on the list or anything. I just pop in. But I listened to that voice and went home and watched This Is Us and cried. And then And so anyway, I'm bringing that up to say I'm always thinking about what I'm doing the next day or writing or blah, blah, blah. So I thought today I would talk about 5 different times that I have explicitly heard the universe. Last night I wouldn't count it because last night was more a feeling in my head, but there was times where I've heard God speak 5 times to me. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit today. I thought that would be cool or interesting or weird or paranormal. Then I woke up this morning. Now back to day job stuff. So woke up this morning, had to drive all the way down to San Diego, did a meeting there with one of my branch managers there. Then I drove. So that's like, to put it in perspective, drove like, let's say 80 miles to San Diego, turn around, and then did another probably 80 to Riverside to meet with another branch manager, to then drive another maybe 50 to get to L.A. for another day job meeting. And now I'm in the CPU Comedy Pop-Up studio. So life don't quit, man. It's fatherhood, it's day job, it's comedy, it's podcasting, it's writing. And I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was having a slow day. And I was like, well, you deserve a slow day. I was like, I take them sometimes. And she was like, no, you never take a slow day. And I was like, you're probably right. But that's what dream chasing looks like. That's just the reality. If you're chasing your dream, unless mommy or daddy are you a trust fund baby, you probably got to have a day job and you're chasing your dream. And if you got kids or a girlfriend, so 24 hours is never enough. So that's my intro. What else I was supposed to talk about today? I'm writing a lot of new material because I want to do a new hour. Last time I recorded my album was in 2014. And it's still on Sirius XM, Foxhole, and Raw Dog to this day. But it's just dated. I was talking about Obama, and I was just at a different place in my life. 2014 means I was 30, I guess, 36, depending on the time of year. Had a daughter, but it's just different. Now I'm single. I'm a co-parenting single father, and so I got a lot that I just got out of a bad, toxic relationship. And so I got a lot to talk about. And so I want to record another hour this fall of 2018. Maybe fall or winter, like December of 2018. That'd be a good Christmas present. Also, if you remember that the episode we were talking about doing our goals, we should probably check in. So maybe next episode or episode after that, I'm going to bring my goals back. I'm going to see where I am. So make sure you're checking in on your goals at least once. I like to do it once a month, but at least once a quarter. One of the ones that's on my head that I really got to get back on is I want to finish that book by the end of the year. So I want to record a new hour for the end of the year. And when I say new hour, anything that wasn't on the 2014 album is new. So it may not be new to you, but it's new. I want to finish my book, which ain't going to be but probably about 150 pages on chasing a dream and balancing day job and stuff like that. And I got to get back to writing my pilot. I have 7 episodes written of Industrial Sales. Obviously, it's dramatically changed now because my life has dramatically changed. And I'm trying to condense it, and I want it to be like 5-minute episodes. So I got 7 episodes at like 30 to 40 pages a piece. And now I got to condense those 30 or 40 pages down to like 10 pages because I need it to be like 5 minutes. And I want to produce my own web series. So that's happening. It was cool. I'm just kind of rambling, going from place to place. I got hit this week I got hit up by my man, Brandon Young. Brandon is a clean comic out of San Diego, but now he and his wife have moved to Michigan. And he helps run the San Diego Comedy Festival and just does a lot of stuff, all things comedy. He also does, he books a lot of shows. He performs on shows, both clean and church and mainstream rooms. So he's a good dude. And he just hit me out the blue yesterday and was like, Trenton, the next time you do a seminar about how to do festivals, can you please include a part about what should go into a video? So, because I'm imagining he helps run San Diego Comedy Festival, so he probably looks at thousands of videos a year, submissions. And I'm sure if I was in his position, it would get on his nerves because some people make the same mistakes. He's like, this is just so unprofessional. So let me talk about 2 minutes about how to submit a video for a comedy festival. And I know you're like, well, why are you the expert? I guess I'm not an expert. Feel free to not listen. But I've been in, at this point, probably over 50 festivals. I've gotten selected to go into 50 festivals. And out of those, let's say 50, I've probably made it into the top 40 times. So I've only won 2 or 3. I get beat by Zoltan every time. Fuck you, Zoltan. Pew, pew, pew. Zoltan's my boy. Follow him on Twitter, Zoltan Comedy, or Instagram. That's my dude. I'm joking. We just texted today, and he's helping me get into Spokane, Washington. That's my boy. But he has beat me in every festival we've been in. So I'm coming for you, son. You killed my father. Anyway, what are we talking about? Oh, so just a simple video submission. One, go to a club that already does the videos, especially like if you're in LA. I know that the what's the one in Burbank? Flappers will record it for $15. It's worth the $15. Have them do it. That's right. I do mine now at my level. Not that I'm higher or anything, but luckily I've gotten past, thanks to my manager Peter Rosegarden. Pew pew pew. I've gotten past that Comedy Magic Club. And so Comedy Magic Club records your set every time you perform, which is phenomenal because, like, I get to perform out there, let's say, twice a month. So, now, granted, it's not like I'm doing 45-minute sets out there. I'm doing 8-minute sets and 10-minute sets. But that's a great submission. 8, 10 minutes, perfect. You don't need anything over 8 and 10 minutes. Real bookers can look at you in an 8-minute set, and they can tell that you're seasoned enough to have 30 minutes to an hour. A booker that is a real booker that's like, okay, I need you to feature and do 30 minutes. They can look at an 8-minute set and tell that you can do an hour. I promise you. So you don't need to send them an hour. They're not going to watch an hour. It's just not going to happen. So first thing first is find a club that does it for you. All right, Flappers does it, Comedy Magic. I think Madhouse does it sometimes, but find a place that does it for you so you don't do it yourself. Second, no, this should be second nature. My man Brandon said, why is this not common knowledge? But it's not. Don't bring your notepad up when you're using it as a submission video. I don't find anything wrong with bringing your notepad up in general, right? This is how I look at it at my generation, at my time in comedy. If the club is not paying me, then I'm going to use that club to work on new material. If you don't want me to bring my notebook up, fine. Give me $150 to $200 for the show, and I will be very, very professional. But if the club is not paying me, y'all got the TVs on, people shooting pool in the back, you're not being professional, and I'm okay with that. But I'm not going to be professional either. I'm going to bring my notebook up. I'm going to work on new material. Stand-up comedy is the only art where the artist refines his art in front of an audience. That's it. Picasso gets to work in a studio for years before you ever see it. Musicians get to work in a studio for years before you ever hear a note. Comedy is the only one where not from the very beginning, when you write it down, but then you go to a club to actually refine your art. So whether you like it or not, bringing a notebook up is cool, but don't use it as a submission video, dummy. Come on, man. If you're doing that, kill yourself. So don't put it in a submission video. Third, cut all the stuff about the host saying he hails from North Carolina, he the third child from 3, cut all that shit. The host don't even need to be in your submission video, all right? The only thing it needs to hear is the clapping right before you touch the mic, all right? Also, I know this sounds ridiculous. Don't say, hey, how y'all doing? What's up, good people? Go right into your first joke. The time from when the submission starts to you're in your first joke should be less than 12 seconds. That's a random number. It really could be less than 5 seconds. From the minute the clapping stops to you and your first joke should be less than 10 seconds. Go right into it. Look, if you're long form, if you like telling stories, don't use that as submission video because when you watch it, it doesn't translate well. I tell people all the time, do as many punchlines as you can in your submission video. Now, when you get in and when you get there, be you. Don't matter. I don't care. But for your submission video, think about it like this. A person has watched 50 videos that day. They are tired. Make your shit stand out. And the way you do that is punchline. Well, they're just like, oh, this dude is funny. They don't care about your story. They don't care about your story after they don't watch 50 or 60 videos. They don't care about my story. All right, so do that. Last but not least, I'm a suggested. I'm not approved. You can tell by the content of this podcast, I'm not approved. I would suggest you submit clean videos. You submit clean videos, you're going to get more work. That's just, remember I said at the beginning, your video don't need to be but 8 to 10 minutes. If you can't do 8 to 10 clean, you need to reevaluate where you are in comedy, because being able to do clean, I'm not saying shoot a clean hour. I'm not saying that. But I am saying if you can do at least 30 minutes clean, you get a lot more work, right? Everybody on a cruise ship most likely has to do 30 minutes clean in front of 10-year-olds, and then another 30 or 40 mainstream later at night, and then a different 30 or 40 later. So if you have that, and they getting paid like sometimes $5,000-$10,000 a week. So it only helps you to be able to do clean work. When I'm writing this new hour in my head, I'm like, I'm gonna start it out writing it clean. Now it may morph to something adult later, but I'm gonna start it writing clean, and then and take it there. Because look, this is the thing: if I can record a clean 45 minutes, then not only is it on SiriusXM, Raw Dog, and Foxhole, but then I can also get it on, I forget the name, but like the All American Comedy, which is a family show, and then I can get it on other stuff. So anyway, clean helps. I'm getting hit up by my boy AK Patman. What up, AK? I'm not gonna answer, but I'm gonna tag you on this podcast so you can make all the Noops in Atlanta download the podcast. What up, Noops? Okay, so I've been doing a lot of talking, and I hadn't even got into what I want to talk about yet. So I did the submission of videos. Politics. I don't want to talk about politics. I'm so embarrassed by Donald Trump being our president. Like, honestly, I'm embarrassed. Man. I watched a speech he gave the other day in Ohio, and it's like listening to a drunk dude rambling after a show. You're like, oh, yeah, it's treason. The Democrats didn't stand up when I was speaking, so it's treason. Like, he the country, man. Yeah. It's so ridiculous how the Republican right has kidnapped patriotism, the word patriotism. And they like, hey, we more patriotic than anybody else. And I'm like, why? Well, because we love guns and Jesus. So we're more patriotic than anybody else. Not because we love the country, not because we forgive more, not because we volunteer more, right? Not because we do work to actually help other Americans. Not because we open up our doors to help other Americans. Not because we open up our wallet to help other Americans. They just feel like they're more patriotic because they drive big-ass, loud-ass trucks and wave a flag and have guns. And that shit is ridiculous. So I'm writing something I'm not going to talk about. I'm not wanting people to talk about their jokes, but I don't think we'll ever get over this whole patriotism and nationalism and racism shit until we have aliens, is my point. We need aliens. When aliens come back, it ain't gonna you gonna love every Mexican you see when aliens come down and start eating your head. Then you're gonna love Mexicans. Like, man, we gave Mexicans a hard time. But I love these Mexicans, all right? When aliens start shooting lasers out their eyes and evaporate motherfuckers, you gonna love niggas and Asians, everybody. We just need an alien invasion to make us love each other. We should be deeper into humanity than we are into nationality. That's my only bit about that. I'm gonna make that funny at some point. What else I got? I did Pilates on Monday, which was cool. Hey, that's one of my goals. Remember I said that's one of my goals? I'm on point. I'm on about 2 a week. And it's cool because I go in. I'm almost always the only dude there. Shout out to the Pilates company for making me feel so comfortable. But as the only guy, I'm very conscious that I'm the only guy. And so I don't want to make the women uncomfortable, especially in today's climate of Me Too. I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable. So I tend to get a Pilates station that's closest to either a wall or closest to the parking lot so I can look out the window, because I don't want, you're doing all these moves, right? So I'm doing these moves, and you look up and you got people in your face, and they might be bending over doing the same move, and they got different parts. And I'm a man still, right? I'm a man. And so I don't want to be looking at their parts and mess around and get a hard on in the class. So I look out the window. So thank you, Pilates Company. If you're wondering why I always try to get a spot in the corner or something like that, that's the reason, because it's nothing but beautiful women in there. Some of them are older, and they're older beautiful women. I like a silver fox, you know. But thank y'all for being so so cool with me. All my teachers, Amy, Danielle, Samantha, all of them have been real nice to me and real just encouraging. And it's cool, man. So thank you. And it's even a few black people in there. I've seen some black people in there, so thank you. I'm going to talk about that. All right. I guess I'll get into what's going on. So long story short is, if you know me and if you're getting to know me, what you'll learn is I was raised in North Carolina, dual parent household, very religious family. And so from a very, young age, I've always been, I guess, a little bit considered wise or regal. Like, my nickname when I was 2 and 3 years old was 80, because my babysitter and them said that I used to look like an 80-year-old man. All other kids would be running around playing, and I would be sitting in a rocking chair just watching everybody play. And so I got the nickname 80, and that kind of stuck and blah, blah, blah. So I'm using that to precurse. What I want to talk about is the 5 times that I've actually heard God or the universe speak to me. Now, listen, I'm not talking about different times when it's in my head and I'm like, hey, maybe I should lead the show. That was like last night. It happened one time I was in, I can't remember the name of the club, but it was somewhere in the Inland Empire, San Bernardino. I was in San Bernardino. I'm not making this up. I should write this down. I'm not making this up. In San Bernardino, I just did a show and killed it, had a good time, killed it. And the show was in a club, a bar-type club, where there's a bar with a big-ass dance floor. And I finished the show. My boy Marcus Tyrants was in town. He comes to see the show. Shout out to Marcus Tyrants. I'm going to have to tag your lovely wife in this because you're not on Facebook. Pew, pew, pew. Anyway, I'm sitting on the patio having a smoke and a beer, talking to Marcus, catching up. Marcus lives out in Omaha. So I'm talking to Marcus, catching up. And I'm not making this up. I just got this feeling it was time to go, right? And comedians and black folk laugh. That's the nigga tingling, the spidey sense, nigga sense. I got this feeling. I was looking around. People was in the parking lot. And it was like on a Wednesday night at, let's say, 10 o'clock at night. Wasn't late. Wednesday at 10 o'clock at night. And I said, it's time to go. And I remember I finished that beer. I went inside, closed my tab, got in the car, and dipped, right? Got in the car and dipped. Do you know, I turn on the TV the next morning, looking at the news, 14 people shot at that exact same club where I was at. Out in the park, a fight broke out in the parking lot. 14 people shot. I think 3 of them dead. And I was like, that's that nigga sense. That's spidey tingling. I was like, I am so glad I listened. So different situations like that happen. Now, I'm not counting that as one of the situations where I actually heard from God. That was one, and maybe it is. That was one where I got the sixth sense, right? I got the sixth sense. But there are situations where I actually heard God speak like I'm speaking to you right now. Hello, Trenton. And it didn't sound like that. It was actually just like a regular dude. Maybe it was my voice. Wow. Maybe, I didn't even think, maybe it was my voice. Maybe, well, whatever. That'll bake my noodle for my ride home. Anyway, so I'm going to just go through it and then I'm going to get out of here. And I know it's weird, it's paranormal, whatever. You can check out if you want. But all these really happened. All these really happened. So first time was when, and actually first time was not, now that I'm thinking about it, wasn't speaking because he didn't say nothing. He just whatever. I was at basketball camp, junior year, High Point College. All right. So it was the summer between my junior and senior year basketball camp. And I'm at High Point College basketball camp. I was raised in Greensboro, North Carolina. So High Point from Greensboro, like 30 minutes. We stay on campus. And it's my whole basketball team, varsity basketball team. Well, I've always been, I guess, like entertaining and class clown and people drew to the leader. And so people drew to me. So everybody had one roommate. So it was two people to a room, but everybody always wanted to congregate in my room. We was laughing and, high school kids. Back then, we didn't have to think about it. No Facebook, no Instagram, no Twitter, no cell phone. Nope. None of us had cell phones. So we had to just hang out and laugh at each other and tell your mama jokes and blah, blah, blah. So somehow I'm in the top bunk. Another dude's in the bottom bunk. Let's say we had 3 or 4 dudes sprawled out on the floor. Everybody like, we just going to camp out in here. Cool, whatever. No big deal. Everybody camped out on the floor. So I wake up, I have no clue what time it was, but I would imagine it's probably between 2 and 4 in the morning. It's a dorm room, right? So it's maybe one window, but it's pitch black in the dorm room. And I look up, and it's a figure in the doorway. So the doorway is glowing like a movie. The doorway is glowing, and then it's a figure in the doorway. And the figure is saying, come here. But he doesn't say it. He's just waving his hand, come here. And I get up, walk to the door, get to the door, and then I wake up. Now, look, it's 3, 4, 5, 6 foot plus Negroes on the floor. It's pitch fucking black, and I walk to the door without stepping on one person. I could have floated to the door. I don't know. I get to the door, don't step on one person. As soon as I get to the door, touch his hand, I wake up. Boop! Wake up, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing at the door? What is going on? What am I doing at the door? So then I said, okay, I got to get back in the bed. So I flip on the lights. Now it's about 3 or 5 people in the room, and it's 2 or 3 in the morning. I flip on the lights just for a minute so I can survey the room so I don't step on nobody on my way back to the bunk bed. All right, I survey the room, say, okay, cut off the lights, try to make my way back to the bed. As I'm walking back to the bed, I probably step on all of the people, right? And so that was in 11th grade. Maybe I was 16. That was my first encounter with God or the universe. And I have since translated that as God was saying, hey, you walk with me, I'm going to guide your steps. You ain't going to have no problem. On the way back, though, was me not walking with him, was me walking upon my own wisdom, my own, lean not into thine own understanding. So I was on my own understanding, and I stepped on everybody. So that happened at 16. Didn't think much about it because I was 16. I was a kid. I didn't even talk about it. I don't think I told too many. I didn't talk about it. I didn't talk about it the next day like, oh, did y'all see that fic? Nope, I didn't talk about it. Whatever. Next one was I was 20. Oh, I ain't going to tell that. That was the second one. I'm gonna skip that one, okay? Third one was Third one, I was probably 21, 22. And I was dating a young lady at the time. I won't say her name because I just won't. Dating a young lady at the time. And I'm living in my parents' house in Marietta, Georgia. And so she lived in Roswell. And if anybody know anything about Atlanta, to get from Marietta to Roswell, Roswell to Marietta, you can take the highway, which is way out the way, or you could take kind of these little side streets. So I would take Roswell Road all the way down to Alpharetta Highway and take that all the way down and then get to our house, right? But the 2 streets that I just mentioned, Roswell Road was 2 lanes one way and then separated by a median and then 2 lanes the other way. When you make a left on Alpharetta, it would be 2 lanes one way and then double white line and 2 lanes the other way. Double yellow line. So I'm just giving you, trying to get you an understanding that it's a small road, it's not a highway. So at the time, I was working at Danaher, and I had to be at work at 7:30 in the morning. So, and Larice lived with, oh, shit, I said her name. We got to edit that out at some point. Okay. So anyway, she lived in Roswell Road. She lived with her parent. She lived with her mom and her grandmother and her sister. So, long story short, I would spend the night at her house a lot of nights, but I would stay in her room, and then she would sleep in her mom's room. Wasn't no sleeping together going on, nothing like that. They was real respectful, real cool family. And they really, we was together for a while, so they really looked after me, and I'll tell some more stories about that other time. Anyway, so on the nights before I would have to go to work, I spend the night over there, and I said, hey, I'm going to wake you up in the morning and let you know I'm leaving. Make sure you guys lock the door. So I would have to leave her house at like 5:30 to get home by like 6 to leave my house at like 6:45 to be at work by 7:30. So I'm doing all that because I was in love. So anyway, so one of them rides, one of them nights, I was coming home from her house. It's 5:30 in the morning, right? I'm coming home from her house. I'm coming down Alpharetta Highway. And as I'm coming, it's 5:30 in the morning, which is kind of early, maybe even 5. There's almost no traffic on the road. And as I'm approaching Roswell Road, I see all these cops, but the cops aren't in their car. They aren't checking speed. They're sitting out of the car with shotguns. But they ain't closed off the road. They just sitting on the side of the road with shotguns. I'm like, what is going on? So I'm just driving. What the hell is going on? Then I got to make a left on Roswell Road. No, I'm sorry. I got to make a right on Roswell Road. So I make the right on Roswell Road, right? Make the right on Roswell Road. At that intersection is 2 more cops standing out of their car, shotguns in their hand. This is not a podcast that you always need to see the video, but on this one, you need to see the video. All right, so they got the shotgun out in their hand. They sitting on the car. It's just like any of those roadblocks that you see on any of them movies, like Baby Driver. But think of a roadblock in like Oklahoma or a roadblock in like Nevada, right? Where it's the middle of nowhere, it's 2-lane road, and the cops are sitting out there with guns blazing, hanging out. But they have not closed the road, which I don't get. If it's dangerous enough for you to have a shotgun out, close the road for regular people. Anyway, I make the right. I get on Roswell Road. I'm driving. I see all these cops. Now, at this point, I done passed 8 cops, and I'm driving. And I'm not making this up. As I'm driving, just as plain as I'm talking to you, I hear the voice say, Trenton, pull over. And now that I think about it, God sound a lot like me. But anyway, he said, Trenton, pull over. I didn't argue with God. I pulled over immediately. Immediately, I pulled over. About 5 seconds later, car is coming down the wrong way. Now, look, remember, this is the one where it's 2 lanes, a median, and then 2 more lanes. So he's coming down the wrong way directly at me, and it's about 8 or 9 cops behind him. And he gets to about maybe 100 feet in front of me and turns left into a neighborhood. And so all the cops coming directly at me, and they turn left into the neighborhood. My point for saying that is if I would have kept going even 5 seconds, I'd have hit him head on. Hands down, I'd have hit him head on. All right? So he come down the wrong way, boom, cops, and I'm like, I'm shaking up at this point. I'm shaking up. I let that go by. I start my car, get back on the thing, and drive home. So I get home. It's about 6:15 in the morning. Get home. My mom is home. I say, hey, Mom, what you doing up? She says, God woke me up and told me to pray for you. I said, wow. Let me tell you what happened. Tell her what happened. She breaks down in tears. Later, she's talking to my girlfriend's mother at church. She's telling her what happened. She says, my girlfriend's mother says, that's so crazy. Because when Trenton woke me up to tell me to lock the door after he left, as I was walking back up the steps, God told me to pray for him right there. So that happened. That was situation number 3 when God spoke to me. Situation number 4, what was the 4th one? Yeah, that was a plane crash. So long story short, August 23rd, 2002, buddy of mine named Josh was taking pilot lessons. I was his manager at Innovis. And I said earlier I was working for Danaher. I wasn't working for Danaher. I was working for Paragon/Innovis. Anyway, so in this situation, I was working at Innovis, and I was his manager. But in the mornings, he would take pilot lessons. And he really appreciated me because his schedule was from 11 to 8. And his schedule was from 11 to 8. But he couldn't get to work until 11:30 because his pilot's lessons wouldn't get out until like 10:30. And by the time he got on the car, he couldn't make it till 11:30. And nobody had an 11:30 schedule. And he came to me in my office and said, Trenton, this was the situation I got going on. I needed to keep the job. I don't want to quit, blah, blah, blah. Even at that point, I wasn't doing comedy. I knew that our life was bigger than just a job. Even at 21, I knew our life was bigger than just a job. So even though I was managing a help desk, I knew I wasn't going to be the help desk manager for the next 30 years. And I knew that he loved flying. He loved trying to become a pilot. So I said, look, Josh, this is what you do, man. I said, you come in from 11 to 8. Your lunch is from 3 to 4. I said, you come in at 11:30 and just take a 30-minute lunch. All right, don't tell nobody because I can't start changing the shifts for everybody because once one person do it, everybody can do it. I said, I ain't going to count you as late. I'll log you in at 11. You just come in at 11:30 and we'll square it off. Cool. So Josh was so thankful that about 6 months later, he said, hey, Trenton, I'm getting my pilot's license, and now I'm at a level where I can take people up. He said, so what I'd like to do is maybe on a Saturday, we all go up. I'm going to show you how I can fly. We'll take you down to Savannah. We'll have lunch. From Atlanta to Savannah is about a 4.5-hour drive. Say, we'll fly down in a private plane, have lunch, and fly back. I said, hell yeah. I ain't never been on no private plane. Josh, let's do it. So we had another coworker named April. April, cool as hell. Shout out to April. And long story short, April was going with it. So it was going to be me, Josh, April, and then the instructor. Right, because he hadn't got his license yet, so he had an instructor. So me, Josh, April, and the instructor. We go up. Now, as I'm walking towards the plane, I hear the voice say, don't get on that plane. But it's about 7 in the morning. It's a Saturday. And I'm thinking, oh, that's just me being a bitch. That's just me being scary. Don't worry. What, Trenton? Don't worry about it. So I didn't listen to the voice. I did not listen to the voice. The voice said, don't get on the plane. Got on the plane, didn't listen to the voice. We go up, and at the time, they're working on single-engine training. So we're in a dual-engine Cessna. They're working on single-engine training. What that means is they cut off one engine, and they go through the process of what would a pilot do if the engine failed during flight. So they got to go through all these different things, and get the engine back on. So they do the first one, cut the engine off, go through all the process, cut the engine back on, boom, the engine starts back up, no problem, okay? Do the second one, cut the second engine off, do the whole process, and the engine don't cut back on. All right? Okay, we're going to do the process again. And the engine don't cut back on again. All right? Listen, people. If you in a big-ass Delta, Southwest, United flight, those planes are big enough and the engines are big enough where they can get you to where you need to go on one engine, okay? In a dual-engine Cessna, weight matters. The same shit that Aaliyah and Left Eye got killed on, right? It's these little bitty planes, and if you have, listen, when they tell you don't have too much weight, do not have too much weight. Don't try to add extra luggage, 75 pounds. No, listen, because them planes, weight matters, okay? So it was 4 of us in a 6-seater. And that would have been fine probably if it was just 2 of them. But because it was 4 of us, remember, one engine's still working, one engine's not. The engine was working, but it's not enough power to get us back to the airport, okay? So we halfway to damn Savannah. We don't have enough power to get to Savannah Airport, and we don't have enough power to get back to the Peachtree City Airport. And I'm like, why the fuck did I not listen to that voice? Okay? And it's so much is going through my mind because the plane is dropping. Now, listen, it's not crashing like what you see on TV. It's not like that. We still got one engine, but it's dropping steadily. So like most people, when you're in a car accident, you never see the car coming, which is because if you did, you would move, right? That's not how a plane crash is. Plane crash, you know the ground is coming, but you got time, like 3 and 4 minutes, which is an eternity when you know you about to hit this motherfucker. So literally, we're going down. Pilot is calling all of. Pilot called Hartsfield. Was like, yo, Hartsfield, we got Mayday, Mayday. First of all, if you never heard a pilot say Mayday while he's in the fucking pilot seat and you 10,000 feet in the air, good for you. I hope you never hear it. I hope you never hear it. Mayday should only be something we hear on TV. You shouldn't be living through the shit, okay? Motherfucker says Mayday, Mayday, and I'm like, oh, this shit is real right now. He already had said to Josh, hey, I'm taking over. The instructor said, I'm taking over. Get your hands off the wheel. I got the con, like on Crimson Tide. I got the con. Motherfucker so he's going through all the stuff. The engine still won't start. And I swear, is a plane, but it sounded like somebody broke down Chevy on the side. Cause I was like, nigga, y'all got to choke us. I was concerned, okay, to say the least. Anyway, plane going down. He's trying to start the engine. We're doing all the stuff. And I hear God say again, I'm still counting this as the fourth one. I'm not counting as the other one. God said again, hey, you're going to be in pain. You're going to be hurt, but you're not going to die. You got a lot to accomplish. I was like, okay, cool. That's the voice. And then I was like, well, how hurt? Like, nigga, wait a minute. How hurt we talking? Like, I'm going to be a vegetable? Like, how hurt? But anyway, all this shit happens. We go down. Somehow, this is God. Somehow we find a soccer field that's open on a Saturday in Atlanta. That shit never happens. Found a soccer field, puts the plane down on the soccer field, breaks the landing gear. We slide into a little bitty forest, and the plane is total. Everything in the front of the plane is broken up. Look, I'm sitting, it was four people in there, right? I'm sitting on the left side, April sitting on the right, blah, blah, blah. If I was sitting in the middle, the damn first aid kit, which is huge when we hit the ground with such impact, the first aid kit flew out the back, went all the way through the middle of the plane, and went through the windshield. So if I was sitting 2 centimeters to the right, it would hit me in the back of the head. I'd have been dead. 100%, I'd have been dead. But we made it out. I ended up carrying April, probably, I don't know, not that far, maybe 300 yards to the clearing of the soccer field. Josh is safe, and Josh is now a living and breathing pilot and flies cool people around. I think he's met Steve Harvey and some other people. The instructor, who I didn't get his name, saved our life that day. Whatever he did, he saved our life that day because that shit was bad. Matter of fact, when the police and the paramedics and the fire people got there, they said, we never want to be the first responder to a plane crash. We hate it, because it's normally a gruesome event. And so for all four of us to walk out, we made it. And if you think I'm lying, all you got to do is look up FAA records, April 23rd, 2002, Peachtree City, and you'll find a dual-engine Cessna crashed in Peachtree City. All right, so that was 4. And the fifth one, I think I've even talked about it before, but I'll talk about it now. The fifth time God talked to me, I was doing comedy, but not really. What I mean by that is I started going to open mics and stuff in comedy in 2003 in Chicago. But between 2003 and 2007, probably went to 10 open mics in 4 years and probably did 10 shows. Not even that many. Probably did 5 shows in 4 years. So I don't count that as doing comedy. And any comedian knows that shit ain't nothing. To put it in perspective, from 2007 to now, I probably do 150 to 200 shows a year, right? And probably, I probably do the same amount of shows I did from 04 to 07. I probably do that in 2 weeks now. Honest, real talk. I probably do it in 2 weeks. So I don't count that as doing comedy. I say, okay, if we want to count it, we'll say it was 4 years. I'll cut it in half, say it was 2 years. Because I don't want to be one of the people who be like, I've been doing comedy for 18 years. But I don't want to be them people also be like, well, I ain't been doing it for 6 months, and look how good I am. So I'm trying to be honest. That's where I'm coming up with that number. So I'll stay at 07. I add 2 years to that and call it 12 years. All right? Anybody who wants to debate about how long I do in comedy, fine, we can debate. I don't care, whatever. My ego's out of it at this point. So the thing is, in 07, between 04 and 07, what I was doing a lot of is I was taking these acting classes. Again, I knew that I wanted to do something. I knew that my life was bigger than just selling industrial instrumentation and industrial equipment, but I didn't know what it was. So I was just searching, man. I was just searching for whatever that was. And so I had gotten to this acting class, and I enjoyed my acting class. And I had an acting class every Thursday with Ed Hooks in Chicago, master scene study, and we would do these scenes with other people, and I was good at it. I was really good at it. But I saw that I was best at stuff where I could ad-lib a little bit and make people laugh. And that was where I was good. And so I still had comedy was on my radar, but it wasn't like now, So anyway, dating a girl that I met somewhere who actually now lives in L.A., and I won't say her name because she's a bigger name than I am, and she's been on a lot of stuff. She's just killing the game. And she says, hey, Trenton, you want to go with me to L.A.? We're gonna do a show. I mean, she needs to go see her agent in L.A. And I said, cool, beautiful girl, want me to go with her to L.A.? Why not? So I go with her to L.A., we kick it, have a good time. And on Sunday, she says, hey, let's go see a comedy show. And I said, oh, it's cool, okay. And we go to the Ice House. And now listen, at the time, I ain't know nothing about L.A. I ain't know nothing about the Ice House. I didn't know it was this legendary spot in L.A. It's definitely one of the top 4 clubs in L.A. It's a Comedy Store, Laugh Factory, Improv, Ice House. Everybody knows the Ice House. That's where Joe Rogan is a couple times a week when he's in town. Ice House is beautiful. But I didn't know what it was. I just thought it was a regular club. And go to the club, and it's a show on Sunday, and I'm sitting in the front. I'll never forget I had on a pink shirt. It was a beautiful pink shirt. And I'm sitting with a beautiful woman. So, of course, they going to make fun of me in the front row. And the host goes up there and lets me have it. As funny as I wish I knew who the host was, because I probably have worked with him now. 12 years later, I probably work with him. But he lamb-blast me, make fun of me, blah, 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 boo, boo, boo. And I said, okay. But while he's making fun of me, literally, I hear the universe say, why are you not doing comedy? It was that clear. And it was almost like the whole place got quiet for a minute, and the universe said, why are you not doing comedy? And to this day, from that Memorial Day Sunday, I could probably find it if I look really hard. From that Memorial Day Sunday until now, it has not been a week go by that I'm not doing comedy somewhere on somebody's stage. And I thought that was cool as hell. I'm going to find the date. I need to write that date down. Give me a second. I know this is bad. But anyway, so yeah, that's my 5 times that so it must have been Sunday the 27th of May. Sunday 27th, 2007. So that's the 5 times God spoke to me. If you're wondering what the second one was that I skipped, second one that I skipped was this, and then I'm going to close out. It's whatever. I was going to Georgia State at the time. I was going to Georgia State. My boy at the time and my roommate's name was D. Ware. D talked like Mike Tyson. What up, boy? What up, son? I'm saying, son. And he was from New York. And D was my boy. Went to high school together. He was my boy. And I transferred into Georgia State, so I didn't know anybody. And so D is showing me around campus, introducing me to people, and he like, hey, I got this girl I want you to meet. And I swear he sounds just like Mike Tyson. I got this girl, she beautiful, son, she beautiful. And I don't want to say her name. Well, I don't know. Whatever. Her name was, I ain't going to say it, whatever. Anyway, he's like, I got this beautiful girl I want you to meet, blah, blah, blah. But he wanted me to meet her, because for him, not for me, it was for him. And I said, cool. And so we're going up to the elevator to our dorm room, right? We was at Georgia State Village, and we was on, like, I think the 8th floor. And we're going up to the village for our dorm room, and we literally step out the elevator, and who's there but the girl that he wants me to meet is getting on the elevator. And he like, oh, snap, this is who I wanted to introduce you to. This is my girl. Blah, blah, blah. Not his girl, but like, this is her. And I'm like, oh, hey, how you doing? She cool, she cute, light skin. That ain't really my thing. But the girl that was with her, again, I ain't going to say her name. I already said it earlier in the podcast, but we're going to edit it out. But the girl that was with her, I was like, hey, how you doing? I never forget. I shook her hand, and the universe was like, this is going to be your wife. I've never had that happen before or after, ever. Universe was like, this is going to be your wife. And I kind of jerked I was like, whoa. And I was like, hey, how you doing? And we met, and I think we exchanged numbers. And, the rest is history, created a relationship. But we didn't get married. I still wonder if the universe was right and I messed it up. But this is the question. This is my question. Can God ever be wrong? Right? So maybe it'll happen. I'm 40 now, right? At the time I was 20, literally 20 years later. No, at the time I was probably 20, maybe 19. Let's call it 20. So 20 years later, it still hadn't happened. Doesn't mean it's not going to happen, but it hadn't happened yet. Or we can say, well, maybe it was supposed to happen, and Trenton, you fucked it up. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with acknowledging that I made some mistakes. My real question is, though, God knows who I am. He definitely knew who I was at 20. So you can't introduce somebody's soulmate to them at 20 and expect them not to fuck up. It's one thing if you introduce their soulmate at 35, because then they're more mature. Okay, boom, boom. But to introduce somebody at 20 who is in a fraternity and is college, you all get it, then you can't do that. That's not fair. So I will own that I fucked up, but I won't own that I fucked up and that's why it didn't happen, because no, all my fuck ups brought me to here. All of my fuck ups took me to Chicago, San Francisco, and here, so I could be doing this podcast and encourage people to chase their dream and encourage fathers to be good fathers and at his job and blah, 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 and had this platform, right? And so while they were on a micro level, right, on a day-to-day level, they were fuck ups and they were mistakes and they were hard. On a macro level, it was the plan. On a macro level, it was a plan. So if it's the plan and it's not, am I making sense? What my question is, why would you tell me that at 20? Because all these situations happen. I'm not making this. You think I just decided to write this shit in? No, I'm not making this. All these situations happen. So if that's the case, it either has to happen in the future or God was wrong. I think that's a great way to end the podcast. Hey, man, thank y'all for listening in. It's I would love to hear your comments on this one. It's a little bit weird. It went all over. I'm going to make sure I tag everybody I mentioned. I got a couple shows coming up. Let's see here. I got Love to Play. I'm doing a show at a kids' play place, which is so cool. Another reason why you want to do clean. So I'm doing a show at a kids' play place in Temecula, Saturday, February 24th. I'm doing the Carson City Nugget Friday, March 2nd. And I'm doing Laughs in Tucson, St. Patrick's Day weekend, March 16th and 17th. Make sure you come to a show. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Trenton Comedy. And make sure you follow the Comedy Podcast Network, Comedy Pop-Up, CPU. Thanks for everything. Thanks to you for all your feedback and your support. Love you guys. Have a good week.